been thinking a lot about how you're born and then you're named. And I think it's because your name matters. What you call yourself, it matters. What you call a thing, it matters. The way you identify yourself matters because how you identify yourself ultimately determines what you get, what you experience, what you receive in this world. And I think that's so important. And so I really want to talk about self-identifier statements because I feel like we're all using them, and they sound like I'm black. I'm black. I identify myself as black, and these are my community of my people. I'm plus size. I identify as plus size, and this is where I can shop to find clothes that fit my voluptuous body. I'm an introvert. I'm short. I'm tall. I'm, all these different self-identifiers, and I feel like we use them because we're trying to find a place to fit into this world. And that's great. That is great. We all need to experience that sense of belonging because that sense of belonging helps us let our guards down. It helps us learn how to be vulnerable, and it helps us to better learn how to authentically be ourselves. But sometimes when we use those self-identifiers, it's backfiring. And I want to discuss 2 ways in which self-identifier statements actually limit what you can experience in this world. The first way is because a lot of these identity statements have to do with putting yourself in comparison to someone else. Even me saying I'm plus size compared to who? I'm 5'3". I'm short, but compared to who? You know what I'm saying? I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough compared to who? Do you see how that's like directly putting myself in comparison to someone else? I'm awkward. I'm weird. I'm not smart enough. Compared to who? Like I am actively placing a self-identifier statement on myself in comparison to somebody else. Like when you think about it, that's crazy. It's crazy that you labeling yourself based off of being the opposite of how you perceive someone else to be. Like you are imperfect compared to who? You not good enough compared to who? I feel like there is so much power in an I am statement. God says in the Bible, I am who I am. So like even me saying those things that I just said, all those statements that I just said, I was a little fearful even saying them because I know how powerful it is to say an I am statement. Whenever you say I am and you fill in the blank with some lesser version of yourself or some comparison of yourself to someone else, you're not telling the truth, right? Because you were created in the image of God. Whenever you say I am something, you will become so. Because that's how powerful that act is. If you say you are not enough, you ain't enough. If you say I'm all over the place, I'm crazy, you are all over the place. You are crazy and you will be perceived as such. If you say I'm not smart enough, you ain't that bright, sis. You just ain't that bright. You see what I'm saying? Like whatever you say, it is true because God has given you the power to speak into existence whatever you want to speak. So I want you and me to use the power of an I am statement to speak who you are, to speak what you want, to not compare yourself to the standards of this world, to not compare yourself to your perception of others, and to not compare yourself to anybody, period. The way you label yourself, the way you say I am, it matters. You get this magnificent power to choose yourself, so choose wisely. Why not choose lovely things? Why not choose wonderful things? Why not choose beautiful things? Why not speak that truth? Why choose how somebody made you feel as a child? Like I struggled reading. I was a slow reader as a child, so now I think I'm dumb as an adult. Like why over-identify with the past? Why not over-identify with the future you? I feel like most of us in our self-identifying statements, we're over-identifying with the old version of us, with the past version of us, the past that had all this childhood trauma, all this emotional neglect, all this being made fun of or being bullied or being victimized. Like we're over-identifying with those past versions of ourselves. And we have the opportunity to identify how we choose to identify. So exercise that power in a way that empowers you. So that's like the first major red flag I see in our statements of self-identification. The second major issue is it becomes a cage. Like it literally becomes a cage. We put binders on our vision of ourselves and we become these linear, one-dimensional beings. For instance, I'm an introvert, so if somebody gives me an opportunity to speak on stage, no, because I'm an introvert and like I don't want to speak in front of my audience because that's not what introverts do. Or, I'm plus size. I love to dance. But in the past I used to tell myself, well, I have a bigger body and like people with bigger bodies, they don't dance. They're not professional dancers, or I'm not athletic. And so if I'm not athletic, why should I be learning how to scuba dive or rock climb or, have any experience that could benefit me, basically? Why should I do any of those things? And the problem with that is not only are you limiting the way that you see yourself, you're limiting the way that you experience the world. You're limiting the relationships that you can nurture because you're cutting yourself off from having these experiences that will create an opportunity for you to meet these different individuals. You're limiting the experiences, the really beneficial experiences that you can have in this life. You're limiting the way that you see the world. When you label yourself into a cage, you're limiting all of these different learning and development and opportunities to evolve. You're limiting your vision of yourself, ultimately. And that means that you're only ever going to experience the tiniest piece of what the world is capable of, because you see yourself one way, you see that one lane, and that's the only lane that you're willing to experience. I'm a slow learner, so I shouldn't go back to college because last time it just took me forever to complete my degree, or I shouldn't get a new career because it's gonna take me forever to learn a new system, a new software, a new environment. Like it's like we limit ourselves in so many ways. And this is the thing. If you feel like some of those things are true about you, so what? So the what? You know what I'm saying? Do it anyway, and then start to identify with that version of yourself in the future. I feel like we choose to over-identify with our past, right? Because we know it, versus over-identifying with the future us. Because it feels like when I say I am this new thing that I've never been before, I've never experienced it before, it feels like a lie when I say it. But that's the thing. You're going to create a whole new world when you learn how to stop operating your experience and to start operating in your expectation. And that starts with the way you identify yourself. You were named at birth because you were expected to rise to the occasion of you, of who you are in this moment. My name is Janae. I'm the occasion that I have to rise to. That's the only label that matters. You have an infinite potential to grow and evolve. You are so capable. You are beautiful. You are perfect. You are created with unfailing kindness. That's what God says. And I love reminding myself of that because it reminds me to be kind to myself, to have grace for myself. And when I do that for myself, I'm able to do it for others. There are so many wonderful things about you. Call yourself wonderful. Call yourself beautiful. Call yourself whole. Call yourself healed. Call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, because that is your power to do so. You were gifted that power as man to call yourself a thing. So call yourself the truth. Call yourself everything that reflects love. That's what you should call yourself. Don't call yourself a cage, because that cage is going to cap your growth on some bullshit from the past that don't even exist anymore. Adjust your lens which is your self-perception, adjust your lens, and I promise you, the world will change. If we all just collectively called ourselves love, the world, oh my God, the change we'd see. And it starts with you. It starts with me, okay? When I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to me. If you have stuck around this long, thank you so much for tuning in. If anything I've said here has resonated with you, please subscribe, please like, please share, please comment. I really want to engage with you guys, and I'm just happy to be here. So yeah, I will see y'all next time.